This plugin has literally saved me hours when it comes to retouching. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I've just got back from a portrait event at the weekend, and I thought that'd give me the perfect opportunity to show you how I've been retouching lately. And something I've been using has been a total game changer, literally saving me hours. So when Retouch for Me reached out asking me if I'd like to try a couple of their plugins to see how they'd help my workflow, I jumped at the opportunity. And when it comes to the retouch, I feel like it's one of those things that can take a good image to an epic one. And I'm not talking here about making your models look like Barbie. I'm talking about subtle changes that can help elevate your images and take them to that next level. Probably also worth mentioning, all the images in this video have been taken using my Fujifilm X-S10. With most of my images, I do all of the editing inside of Lightroom, except when it comes to the retouch. If I need something slightly more in depth, I'll jump into Photoshop, and that's where we're gonna start. So today we're gonna be taking a look at 4 different portraits in 4 different lighting setups. We've got this first one, which we've got a top-down lighting where the light was coming through a skylight. You can see it's creating some shadows underneath our model's eyes and under her mouth. Our second image, where we've got light coming through these windows to our model's right. The next one that we're going to look at is this one here, which was quite a challenging lighting conditions where the model was sandwiched between a row of buildings and also a bus. And then the final image that we're going to look at today is this one here, which is more of a typical studio setup lighting where we've got more direct lighting onto our model. Today, we're specifically going to be looking at the Heal and also the Dodge and Burn plugins. It's worth mentioning each of the plugins can be used as standalone plugins. And to make your life easier, what they've done is they've kindly provided a Retouch for Me panel that you can use inside of Photoshop to actually pull through all of your activated subscriptions for whichever of the plugins that you have. So, going to our first image, let's take a look at this one here. Diving right in, the first thing that we're going to be looking at is healing. If you expand this, you've got your sensitivity control and your portrait scale. What that allows you to do is to choose whether you can leave it on auto, which is what I've been doing in most cases, or select close up, half length or full length, depending on the type of image that you've got. Your sensitivity then gives you a bit of control over how intense the healing is. So if you crank it all the way up, you get the highest level of healing, whereas if you drag it right down, you get nothing. 50's been kind of working really well, like in our instance of this model, because she's got some piercings and stuff. If you crank the sensitivity too high, it actually removes the piercings as well. So what I'm going to do is, now we've got that, I'm just going to hit play, and that's literally it. Done. So what was that, less than a second? And if I just do the before and after, you can see a couple of places it's removed, say the scar here, that maybe a little bit more than I would like, and also impacted some of the tattoo on her face here. So what you can do is, if there are any areas that it's impacted a little bit too much for you, you can either use your erase brush and kind of just erase those, or you could mask it out. So I'm just quickly going to go in and add those in. And in this instance, because of the makeup that the model was wearing, there was these like white speckles on her face where it's actually picked those up as well. So if we just restore those back into where I want them, and so we can just quickly turn off before and after, and you can see the difference that has made just through that one click. The one that actually blew my mind in reality, and I don't mean that in the traditional YouTube way where everything blows my mind, I was literally gobsmacked by the results of the Dodge and Burn. If you want, you can time this, but you probably won't be quick enough to get your phone out, and then just hit play again, and then done. It's that fast. Like, I've not even sped this video up. That was literally real time. If we do the before and the after, let me just centralize the model on the screen. The results are insane. To me, the retouch is one of those things that can make a good image an epic one. And using something like this that saves so much time to get those reliable, fast results, it's just mind-blowing. So just to show you that this wasn't a fluke, let's just try it on some of these other images as well. So, as I said before, we've got this light to the right of our model. Well, the window acting as a giant softbox from the natural light outside. And again, I'm going to start with a Heal. Maybe impacted a few of the piercings and tattoos a little bit too much, but what we can do is, if that's what's happening, we can lower the sensitivity. Let's try 25, and boom, it's not impacted those, but it's just taken a little edge off some of those. And in general, the model here has got fantastic skin, so there's very little to heal anyway. I'm just demonstrating how the heal tool actually works. So again, dodge and burn, gonna leave the settings exactly the way it was on the last image and hit play. Done. That fast. And if we do before, after, before, after, you can see it's impacting a little bit on the wall there in the background, but I don't mind that. And if you did want to control it a little bit more, the blend here controls the opacity of the layer. So if we were to reduce that, it just changes the opacity of this layer here. So again, if I just flick between that, the results are insane. And that one click elevates the portrait so much. So this is one of the images that actually made me fall in love with using this plugin, because the results, they spoke for themselves. So again, I'm just going to leave the sensitivity to 50. I like my heal to be a bit more natural, not remove every single thing on the face. So again, less than a second probably. Just some minor healing going on just around the nose there. But then if I just zoom out so we can see the whole of our model's face and dodge and burn again, hit play. Taking a little bit longer this time, but the results absolutely speak for themselves. Using this inside of my workflow, if anything, it's helped me edit faster and more reliably. So a final image that we're going to look at today is this one here, more studio-based setup lighting. So I'm just going to zoom in again so you can get a bit closer in on a model's face. Let's try the sensitivity on this one up to 100 and hit play. Now you can see a lot of those marks and blemishes have been removed. Again, it's not too over the top, making our models look too much like Barbie. And then, I know it's kind of ironic when I'm looking at a model on a pink background that's dressed in flowers, but that aside, let's use the dodge and burn. I'm just going to hit play again. There we go. And if I just go before, after, very subtle, but I think you'll agree the results are insane. So if we did want to push this to the max, let's see what happens. So I'm going to push that to 200. So this is, I think what it will basically do is do the dodge and burn doubled, but at 100% opacity. So let's hit play on that. Yep, so we've got 2 extra layers there. And so we've got, again, ever so subtle addition. So you've got your main one and then ever so subtle extra on top of that. But if I just group those 2 layers so we can see some before and afters, like, it absolutely speaks for itself. And like I say, it saved me so much time when it comes to editing, especially utilizing the batch retouching. And that just allows you to select a folder of images, and using the settings that you've predefined up here, it will go through every image in that folder and apply the same heal and the same dodge and burn to each of the images in that folder, and then save them back to the same folder in a subfolder under retouched, and you'll have all of the images in that folder retouched. So there we have it. That was only a quick look at the power that is retouch for me. I can honestly say they have been a game changer when it comes to my editing workflow. So there we have it. Taking a quick look at how retouch for me has revolutionized my portrait editing in just a few clicks. If you'd like to grab any of the retouch for me plugins, they're kindly offering my subscribers a 20% discount off all of their plugins, which also includes some free cloud retouching bonuses as well. So if you'd like to check that out, I'll put a link to it in the description below. And with all that said and done, I'll catch you in the next one.